Good evening, Miss Jane. First and foremost, thank you so much for reaching out to us through email. In response to it, me and the team have created this personalized deck presentation in order to better understand the benefits you and the executives will have through our training program. So my name is Mark, and today I will be presenting our sample presentation called The Overview of AI Implementation, Risk Strategy and Training Program Sample, which we will showcase at the end of this presentation. So we have a few expected outcomes. First is to understand AI trends, understand the implications for central banking, identify opportunities, understand government requirements, and develop an initial AI perspective. So let's start with an executive summary. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming financial institutions, regulatory frameworks, and decision-making processes. Senior leadership must understand both the opportunities and risks of AI in order to guide institutional strategy, governance, and digital transformation initiatives. In basic terms, artificial intelligence has seen a rapid amount of implementation businesses in recent times. As an executive, it is our overall duty in order to implement this usage to the best of our capabilities. And this starts with educating ourselves on the benefits of AI. Many businesses have implemented AI in order to streamline their processes, to increase revenue, or to decrease costs. Um, and overall, throughout this presentation, we will be elaborating further on the strategies that we can implement in order to utilize AI to the best of its capabilities. So here are a few key objectives of our training. First and foremost is AI awareness. Second is central banking, or the context of AI in regard to central banks. Second is governance and risks. How do we govern AI usage as well as to mitigate its risks? And digital strategy. How is AI actually implementable in our institution? So for this part of our in this part of our presentation, AI and global transformation, impacts on the economy, financial sector, and central banking. In regards to in this section, we will be discussing the implications of AI through a myriad of industries and sectors in our current day and age. So in order to further elaborate on the benefits of AI in businesses and institutions, I prepared a myriad of cases in order for us to go through to understand the value that AI has on all these sectors. So let's begin with the impact on the global economy or local businesses. Luxgen is a Taiwanese electric vehicle brand which uses Vertex AI to power an AI agent that answers customer questions on its official line account. The chatbot has reduced the workload of human customer service agents by 30% or has increased productivity by 30%. So Luxgen has implemented AI in order to interact with its overall customers, and this in turn means that the customer agents did not have to go through these calls and processes, which took up majority of their time. Through AI implementation, they were able to streamline this interaction and able to free up the time of these customer agents to work on more beneficial things for the company. So it's overall increased the productivity through its AI implementation. Second, its impact on central banks. The case we have here is the Central Bank of Brazil, who used AI to quickly spot which banks are at risk during sudden market changes, and this helps the bank run better stress tests and find potential problems earlier before they affect the entire financial system. This basically means that the Central Bank of Brazil has utilized AI in order to track the performance of banks all around their nation. This in turn allows them to act accordingly and with real-time information. Uh, this basically means that AI in regards to central banks is used or utilized in order to track uh, real-time data in order to act accordingly. Think of it as a monitor that someone can look through in order to understand the performance or health of a specific sector or business. This is the wonders of AI. It allows a person to um, act in accordance to the data in real time. And this is exactly the type of usage that the Central Bank of Brazil has been utilizing as of late. Next one is the impact on the financial sector. For this one, we're using PayPal as an example. PayPal uses adaptive machine learning to analyze millions of daily transactions and instantly flagging anomalies. So PayPal has utilized AI in order to um, go through millions of transactions in order to flag whether or not it's a questionable transaction or not. In basic terms, PayPal has utilized AI in order to streamline decision making because PayPal doesn't have to go through all of these transactions or manually go through it. AI is able to utilize its um, processes in order to analyze all of the data on the spot and to make decisions on behalf of the company. So if there's a questionable transaction, AI stops it before anyone else gets involved, and this overall increases or streamlines the overall uh, effectiveness of PayPal transactions because they don't have to go to it manually. AI does the job for them. So this brings me to the next point: global trends and industrial impacts of AI. AI overall is a competitive edge because it allows, let's say, the impact on the global economy, capability to automate routine tasks. AI is able to automate the tasks that takes up majority of our staff's time, as well as it augments decision making through giving you real-time information. Its impact on central banks is it enhances policy agility, which means central banks are able to practice their policies faster based on the decisions that or data that's provided by AI as well as through its algorithms. And next one is impact on the financial sector. Similar to the central banks, it optimizes operational efficiency, similar to the global economy section. And AI strengthens risk management because AI actually streamlines the overall processes of the financial sector. So any sort of transaction happening, AI stops immediately or flags it, whether it's questionable or not. And this in turn strengthens the risk management because AI actually is able to automate whether or not a transaction is good or bad. So it's overall been beneficial for the overall financial sector. And next are two very important topics, which is subtech and regtech. For this topic, for this slide, it's called the digital transformation in financial supervision and compliance. So how do we supervise financial transactions and how do we comply with them? Let's start with regtech. RegTech, or Tools for Institutions, helps banks automate their own compliance and reporting, making them more transparent and easier to monitor. Think of it this way: banks prior to AI had to rely on manual reports, monthly or annual, in order to make decisions on the betterment of the banks. So central banks get these reports, and these reports are usually very outdated. But with reg technology, central banks are able to stay informed, or banks are able to stay compliant with any sort of regulations automatically because these types of technology is able to streamline reports and makes all of their transactions transparent. This in turn allows monitoring these banks' performance more. Um, it makes it overall more simplistic because it's overall transparent. All the data is right there, um, printed to you. Think of it as like a receipt. Uh, reg technology um, Reg technology makes it easier for banks to overall explain their transactions and to monitor their overall health, which makes regulators have an easier time when dealing with them. And this brings us to our second topic, which is subtech. Subtech, or tools for regulators, AI allows supervisors to automate data collection, analyze real-time market trends. So basically, subtech is analyzing the overall banks and their performances. Think of it as real-time monitoring. Um, do they have enough liquidity? Do they have enough cash? Is the economy going to impact the bank negatively? If so, subtech allows them to understand these situations more clearly because of real-time data analyzation. If you look downwards in regards to the stickers on the bottom, subtech is usually used for monitoring and control, as well as systematic oversight, while regtech is used for identification of problems, as well as proactive forecasting, because they are more transparent with their transactions. Which brings me to my next point. What are the benefits of implementing these changes? Let's look towards the past in regards to traditional supervision of banks. In order to get a report prior to AI, we had to rely on manual reporting, periodic reviews, reactive oversight, as well as limited visibility. Um, because these reports took a very long time and were usually manual back in the day, it took a lot of time. Monthly reports, annual reports, and when a decision is made, the problem has been sitting around for a very long time. But now let's look towards the new financial reality, which is basically what is the financial landscape that we have now in this current day and age. Complex data volumes, there are many transactions, especially in regards to technology usage, emerging technology risks. Many companies are actually implementing AI for themselves. So to stay competitive, um, they had to implement AI for themselves. You had to utilize AI, and if you wanted to streamline your own processes. So not utilizing AI was sort of a risk in itself. Which brings me to the third bullet point, which is rapid market change. The market is changing rapidly due to these implementations, and in order to stay competitive, you have to implement AI. So where does subtech and regtech come into this? Subtech or subtech overall benefits through continuous market surveillance, early warning systems, and predictive capital risk analysis. So it analyzes the overall health of a bank in order to inform decision makers on whether or not they should intervene or not, and to make them aware before the situation spreads further. RegTech, on the other hand, automates compliance reporting, proactive institutional resilience, and transparent data exchange. They automate the reporting in order for people to make more informed decisions on the bank itself. Think of it as subtech being able to analyze a bank for its health, and regulatory or regtech allows a bank to follow the overall regulations that allows it to be a bank in the first place. So it goes hand in hand. AI in decision making. The role of AI in institutional strategy. For this part, we're going to look towards what banks are facing in regards to complexity and what AI enables in regards to its growth. So the title of this slide is Banks are facing greater complexity while AI enables faster, smarter decision making. So in regards to this part, we have growing complexity. There are, as we said prior, increasing transaction volumes, expanding regulatory requirements, and rising cyber threats. These are some challenges banks are facing. Operational constraints, manual reporting process, slow data analysis cycles, and delayed risk identification. So banks that don't implement AI are overall analyzing it all more slowly. And next is AI impact, real-time monitoring, automated compliance checks, and faster decision-making forecasts. AI overall um, helps these problems through real-time monitoring, as we said for regtech and subtech, and automated compliance checks. So AI is able to handle the slow process of manual analysis through streamlining these processes. So I would like to showcase this graph here, which is a graph in regards, it's from Microsoft AI Diffusion Report. It's mostly based in the UAE, but it showcases the amount of people that has adopted or used AI in the last years and quarters. So as you can see, AI usage or people who've used AI has mostly been stuck at 58%, 58% over here. No, sorry, 59%. And the amount of people who've used AI in recent years has jumped up to 70%. So the amount of people becoming more aware of AI, businesses, everyday people, has increased. So the overall trend of AI usage has seen an overall growth. This in turn means more people are going to be curious about AI, going to become more educated in it, and are definitely going to utilize it in their own businesses to stay competitive in the market. So the overall trend of AI is undeniable that many more people are going to be using it. So how do we actually use AI more responsibly? So for this slide, it's called the AI and institutional decision making. How do we utilize AI in our own businesses in order to remain responsible with it or to use it properly? Let's start with case number one, data ingestion. Aggregate data that's either internal or external is inserted into the model. So AI will analyze the data that's given to it, and then it will synthesize this data through its overall understanding of it. So it streamlines the overall understanding process of the data and allows the executive to make informed decisions based on the data given to it. An important aspect of this process is the human feedback. In order for AI to make good decisions, though it is good at analyzing data, human feedback allows us to supervise whether or not the data given to us by AI is good or bad. Can we trust it? Does it make sense? Is it presentable? So in the overall process of AI implementation, the human feedback is the most important because it allows us to customize and to supervise data on whether it is doing a good job or not. And next is the informed policy. Because of human feedback, we are able to clean up this data and then able to make decisions that are overall AI or data driven because AI gives the data, the human interprets it, and therefore makes informed policies or changes. The cycle repeats itself through informed policies, data ingestion. We are able to create more data and to get better results. And through this data, we're able to synthesize more meaning, and the feedback loop overall feeds itself. Through AI, we'll be able to see an overall growth in our business. AI and governance. Governance risk, ethical consideration, and model risks. So now we're going to talk about the risks of AI implementation, starting with governance risk or governing AI. What are the risks associated with handling AI in the first place? First one is human oversight. Is AI actually working properly? We have to actively track it. Accountability. Um, do we actually, if AI makes a mistake, who will be responsible for it? Transparency and AI policies. How do we utilize AI responsibly? What data can we use? And can we actively make this data public without it being a questionable decision? Um, Next risk is AI risks or hallucinations. So AI is not perfect. Sometimes it makes very uninformed decisions and therefore makes the data that's going to give very mm, not presentable or inefficient. Sometimes AI can also be biased, wherein it has a certain um, beliefs that are not applicable socially. There was one case where the earlier AI models have been showcased to be more racist as compared to now. These were during earlier testings, but there are some risks that AI could be biased. Data privacy and cybersecurity. Um, AI overall with the data usage, what type of data are we actually using? And with this data, is it actually safe for us to implement it? Next one is leadership and responsibility. How do we actually use AI leadership wise? So, how do you use AI responsibly? First and foremost, for leadership and responsibility, establish guardrails, how far we can go with AI, manage risks. If AI makes a mistake, how do we have plans in place in order to handle it appropriately, and ensure responsible adoption? Are we responsible with the way we're implementing AI? Is it actually relevant to the problem we're solving? This in turn allows us to make overall better decisions in regards to its implementation and to be responsible with it. So for government risk, solutions are implement a human in the loop protocol, as showcased earlier in our feedback loop, the human feedback. Human feedback is important because it allows us to overall determine whether or not the AI implementation is working effectively. Is it actually um, doing things properly? And we need human judgment to test that morality. So we need a human to overall be critical of AI as well as its overall output. For AI risk, deploy continuous monitoring and periodic stress testing to identify and mitigate hallucinations, bias, and cybersecurity vulnerabilities. This basically means a human should be there to fact check the AI on whether its output is correct or not. This in turn allows us to identify biases, which we in turn can correct, as well as to adjust the overall output of AI to judge whether it's good or bad. Leadership responsibility. Define institutional guardrails and risk appetite frameworks to steer the organization towards secure, responsible, and ethical AI adoption. We need to have plans in place to make sure that AI is actually a proper implementation. Are we using it responsibly? We should create frameworks in order to determine whether or not we should implement it in the first place. Ethical considerations of AI implementation, algorithmic fairness and non-discrimination. AI models must be rigorously tested to ensure they do not precede biased outcomes such as unfair lending practices or discriminatory risk profiling. Could AI possibly be um, unfairly determining someone's eligibility for loans? Um, all this into consideration, AI could be biased in regards to someone's looks or could judge them based on something that's completely illogical. Privacy and data sovereignty, ethical implementations require strict adherence to data privacy standards, ensuring that AI systems do not misuse sensitive personal or systematic financial data, even while performing high-speed analysis. The type of data that AI has access to, can it be utilized, and how strict are we in regards to the amount of data that it has access to? Because if AI has questionable data, it will act questionably overall. We need to make sure that the data given to it does not create a threat afterwards for our institution. Next is accountability and human agency. The ethical North Star is maintaining human in the loop oversight. This ensures that while AI is used to synthesize vast data sets, the moral and legal responsibility for policy related outcomes remains firmly with the board and senior management. Again, with all things AI, we need to make sure that there's always a human on board in order to determine whether or not what AI or what the output is actually aligned with the values of our company, institute, or business. It's important for a human to always be on the loop in order to determine whether or not the output is good or bad. Strategic alignment and implementation roadmap for educational modules. So as we go through all of the benefits, the risk strategy, and everything that we had to know about AI implementation, we're now going towards the educational modules for the executives. So this is the proposed program structure. It tackles everything that we've discussed so far, but in more details. So it's a 1 month progress plan or 1 month educational module to inform the executives on whether or not or what type of uh, learning or things that they should be aware of as they go through the modules. So first is AI and global transformation, the trends of AI in financial services or its application in financial services. On week 2, we'll have AI in central banking, which is the main institute that we are in. Next one is governance and risks. So what are the problems that go on with AI? Executive AI application and strategic discussion workshops. So executive AI application and strategic discussion will mostly be the tangible result of all of the educational modules that we've gone through. So this is mostly practical implementation. So majority is overall contributing to our strategic understanding of AI. The executive AI application strategic discussion workshop is more focused on the tangible result or applicable um, as of now. So AI executive AI application is basically referring to AI tools that we can utilize in order to streamline our processes. And strategic discussion workshop allows everyone to brainstorm and to think of ways that they can implement it into their own processes. Oops. Now, lastly, our program methodology as well as our delivery approach. So for our program methodology, an executive first and strategy focused learning, wherein we implement AI examples or cases that allows executives to determine how they can implement AI as we speak or on the day that we've introduced it. Next is case studies from central banks and financial institutions, wherein we have real life examples in order for executives to be able to um, get tangible examples from in which ways they can implement AI into their own central banks. Interactive discussions and scenario analysis allows executives to brainstorm ideas on how to implement it with each other, and practical workshop to identify AI opportunities or introduction to a myriad of AI tools in order for them to implement it into their own businesses. Next is delivery approach, a 4-week instructor-led program and weekly executive sessions from 70% strategy to 30% practical. So by the end of the modules, we'll have a practical discussion about AI and its implementation. Next is facilitate discussions with real-world examples and final strategic AI workshop and action planning, where we discuss how to implement AI effectively in our institution. So first and foremost, thank you all very much for listening. I hope that this was an overall insightful presentation. And a few closing recommendations is that AI is no longer solely a technology topic, it is a leadership, governance, and strategic transformation issue. Equipping senior decision makers with structured understanding of AI will help the institution identify opportunities, manage risks, and position itself for the future of central banking. Which basically means that with understanding AI, we're able to understand the future. And with understanding AI, we're able to understand our competitors and how to remain competitive in the current market, how to streamline processes, how to bring value to our customers. All of this is possible with AI because with AI implementation, it's not just a way to remain competitive, but it is a way for us to remain relevant in the current day and age. Thank you all very much for listening, and I hope to see you all again next time.